Well, I figure I'd finally get around to making a video about my new beater car. It's a 1995 Jeep Grand Cherokee Orvis edition. Fancy, loaded. Got some problems, as you can see. There's no the bottom of the fenders and rocker panel there doesn't exist anymore, but that's okay. And the gas door doesn't match, but that's okay. But I picked this up for an extremely good price. Hold on, my stupid cell phone here doesn't want to back up. And I'll explain how that happened. Well, anyway, it's a 95 Jeep Grand Cherokee Limited Orvis, or Orvis Limited, I don't know what the hell you'd call it. It's fully loaded, leather seats, the whole shebang, all that bull. The fancy limited rims. It's got the 318 in it. An automatic. Quadra-track, or how you say it, four-wheel drive. But anyway, enough rambling. I bought this car here for $1,000 with a snow plow and a radial arm saw. Yeah, it's a very strange combination. I recently sold the plow for $600, so it's a $400 Jeep now. And I'm probably going to sell the radial arm saw for $200, so then it's going to be a $200 Jeep. I bought this, has some issues, and I'll explain in a minute. It does run and drive perfect, well, almost perfect, and the four-wheel drive works, which is pretty much the main things you need. But when I got it, it had a bad brake line, and I know it leaked, but it still had good brakes. And after driving it around for a day, I completely blew the brakes and lost brakes, so drove it home very softly and put a new brake line on it, and then it was good. Then later that night I took it mudding and I broke a U-joint, so I had to fix that then the next day. But other than that, I haven't really had any other problems mechanically. I'll give you a little tour here. It's got high miles, very high miles. Steering wheel's worn out. It's got 180, I don't know how good the camera's picking this up. It's got 184,505 and almost 6/10 on it. It's inspected. Day I got it, I changed the oil in it. As you can see, it's I have a bit of a mess in here, but that's okay. Starts up, runs amazing. Probably could use some new exhaust soon, but it'll have to do for now. And if you'll notice, you'll see that pinstripe on the tailgate here, not on the Jeep. Funny story behind that. The guy who had it before me plowed with it, and he had one of those stupid snow sport plows, and he had it on the back. Oh, I really don't know what the story was. And he had a mailbox with it. And he put a new rear gate on from a junkyard, which was missing tons of parts. And when I got it, you had to open it with a dog leash. So I went to the junkyard and I bought another gate, and I got all the parts from it because I couldn't find one that matched the color. And I put all the parts on that, so now I have a rear brake light, license plate bulbs, a rear defroster, and a rear windshield wiper. But anyway, and this door don't open. Probably just a busted pin or something. But for 184,000 miles on it, and the motor and the tranny have never been rebuilt. The motor, you could tell it's a little bit tired. For example, this morning I started it and it had a little bit of a tick for a couple seconds. And sometimes when you start it, it gives you a puff of blue smoke. I guess the valve seals are bad. And it has an oil leak from the rear main seal, which I'm definitely not fixing. But the tranny, I know I'm going to jinx myself on this one, but the tranny with 185,000 miles on it, you won't even know it. You'd think it just came out of the showroom. It shifts like brand new, and it's never been rebuilt. Guy I bought it off owned it for 10 years, and he bought it off eBay before that, so I think he bought it with about 40,000 miles on it, and I bought it with about 183,000 some odd miles on it, almost 184. The only rust on the whole car really is the bottom of the front fenders here, as you can see. They don't exist anymore, but I'm not very worried about that. It's got some cosmetic problems, like hole in the bumper held on with a zip tie. And of course, when I bought it, the gas door was missing, and it's supposed to have a power gas door, but that part was missing, and that was going to be a pain in the ass to fix that. So I ended up just going to the junkyard, and I got one off of a Grand Cherokee that I don't know, it doesn't match perfect, but it'll have to do. Inside you'll see worn out leather seats, and I currently have the back door panel off because, like I said, it was all redneck rigged, and I didn't have a clip, so I used a piece of wire. Then I couldn't open it from the outside again, so I just ripped the door panel off, and I broke some of those little rivet clips off. So I'll have to fix that. I'll probably fix that this week. I'll get some of them, but the didn't come with a back door panel either, so we bought one of those from the junkyard. Couldn't find one to match, and then we ended up getting a gray one, and we painted it with vinyl paint. But anyway, it tells us the little date and time here. It needs an alignment. This is pretty much driving straight, the way it is here. Got the overhead console, which I had to put a new one in. Well, the old one, this little door here wouldn't latch, and that was annoying. And this light here, I don't know how well you can see it. I don't know, it was really hard to put on, and my friends are assholes, and they were playing with it, and they couldn't get it on, and then they ended up punching my overhead console, and it had redneck wiring in here for a remote start that doesn't work. And that ended up causing a bunch of problems, so then I bought an overhead console from the junkyard and put that in, and then the little compass and thermometer thing caught on fire in it last week, so I just made a good one out of both of them. Now we're good to go. I also just last week put an aftermarket radio in it. I don't really like aftermarket radios, but the one that was in it, the display didn't work. It was the factory radio, so I fixed the display. And then short time after that, all the buttons were screwed up on the left side. So I just tossed that, and I picked this one up at Wally World. It's a nice little radio, and I can make it whatever color I want, so it doesn't piss me off. It actually matches. It's got two blown speakers in the back, of course, but I'll get around to fixing that. That didn't work when I bought it, but I got another one with it, so I installed that when I had the radio out. Like I said, four-wheel drive works. I'll show you the motor. I apologize for the shitty camera work. This will be my what a 318 looks like, with no belt on the air conditioning compressor, because that's seized up, but I have another one for it that came with the Jeep, which I'll probably never end up putting on, but it's there. It runs pretty good. Runs pretty good, doesn't stall out or anything. It's got plenty of power. Didn't check this yet. Let's check the blow-by. Sure, there's probably lots. Oh no, that's a sock. No blow-by. That's really a shock. Get this damn oil cap on. I recently sanded the headlights because they were pretty bad, and now they're a little bit brighter. This is my high beams. They're not too good. This one, you definitely can't see that. Well, maybe you can. Yeah, it's got condensation in it, so that's a problem. And I'm not going to stick a lot of money into this car because it is just a winter beater. But I am going to get new tires soon, used ones, because the ones that are on it are complete garbage. They're they're okay, but this one it definitely needs an alignment, because this one, the tread's all like bald in the middle here, like there's barely anything here. But yeah, here, I'll open it from the back here. Maybe the door, I think the door is locked still. Unless that stupid wire fell off again, and then I'll be really pissed off. I'll just get a clip eventually. Okay, yeah. That's what it looks like in the back. A little chainsaw I have to fix for somebody. Door panel we painted. How we tried to put the door panel on with this rubber shit that didn't work. But here's a view from the back of the Jeep. Very good deal for the money though, I think, for $200. Except you gotta give that a whack. I think it needs to be aligned. But take you for a test drive in it in the next video. Show you how she goes and shifts and stuff. It's expected here in PA somehow. But enough rambling on. That's it. Next video is going to be a test drive.